Hello English 101 students. Today I wanted to make a video for you to go over your e-portfolios and just help you with a little bit of building them. Last week I got the opportunity to look over your work that you've done so far, and it was awesome to look over what you feel like you've been learning so far and just to see your project one laid out from your pre-writing work, just from the very beginning and brainstorming and stuff, all the way through rough draft and then feedback and then final draft. I hope it's as satisfying to you to look at it and see how far your writing came from when you first started it to when you turned it in at the end. So one of the things that you should have started at this point is the tab that says WPA Outcomes and the tab that says Habits of Mind. Okay, not everyone has those going yet, but we should be at the point where a lot of that information is filled out. So if you haven't started on that yet, you need to start on it right away because the semester is going to be over soon. Even if you just set aside a little time each day, just go and make sure that you're working on it and you're getting some of this information in there so that you're not rushing and scrambling at the very end. So I'm just going to show you one way that you can format this. You don't have to do it this way, but you can if you'd like to. So here I'm just in WPA Outcomes, and there's the 4 sections below. I'm in Rhetorical Knowledge. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the notes that are in here, and I'm going to use them like headings. And I'm going to put my text underneath of them. So what you should have is you should have 1 to 2 paragraphs in each section and for each of your projects. So for project 1, you should have 1 to 2 paragraphs, and for project 2, you should have 1 to 2 paragraphs under each of these sections. So what I did is I wrote a little bit ahead here so you don't have to sit and watch me type. So I'll just do this. So I wrote something out for project 1 and then I wrote something out for project 2. Now, actually doing this in Word before you type it up in the Digitation platform is a really good idea. Because the thing is that the Digitation, it doesn't have the same capabilities as Word does. And so you'll notice, I'm sure you've noticed, that it doesn't pick up on your errors the same way. So if you're typing it in Word, Word is going to catch more errors. So it's actually a good idea to just type it up in Word and then copy and paste it over to your portfolio. Or if you feel like you have to type it up in your portfolio, take it and copy it at the end and paste it into Word and make sure nothing pops out at you as like, oh, little squiggly lines, or when you reread it, it sounds kind of funky somewhere. And then you'll catch it as you see it on the different screens. So I'm going to go ahead here. This looks pretty good. So I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, and so for this, I'm going to delete my bullet point because I want it to sit underneath of here. It'll be obnoxious. Nope. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to pull the bullet points off of this second. Haha, not right there. Off of this second section here, so that I have my bullet point and then I have my text underneath of it, okay? And then I'll have like my second bullet point and then I'll put my text underneath of that, okay? So for this first point, it says learn and use key rhetorical concepts through analyzing and composing a variety of texts. So underneath of that, I'm going to write what I did in project 1 that I feel like ties into that aspect of rhetorical knowledge. So how did I learn and use key rhetorical concepts through analyzing and composing a variety of texts? So I went ahead and I wrote this little blurb about my project 1, which doesn't exist, but it's all good. So I talked about what did I learn that's a key rhetorical concept. I talk about ethos here and how in project 1 I learned to write using credible sources as my research base, and that's how you build ethos with your reader, because they learn to trust you because you're choosing credible, reliable sources. Okay, so that's how I'm taking that. Again, you are going to get different things out of your projects, but you want it to fall in line with whatever just that section is supposed to say. So mine is about ethos, yours does not have to be. But you need to tie it in to what the rhetorical concepts are that you're learning, okay? And then I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to my project 2. Now I see I've got a little red squiggly line here, but it's for the word kairos, which Word just doesn't like, so I'm fine. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it over here again. So this is for my project 2. Okay. So now what I would ultimately do is I would do this for each section and tie in what I learned and put it in there. Now mine is a little on the long side, so yours doesn't have to be that long, but just remember that you want 1 to 2 paragraphs for each section explaining, and for each project, explaining what you learned and what you got out of the experience of completing this project, okay? Now, when I'm done, I'll save it and I'll publish it, which you already know because you've already worked through all of this, I'm sure. So there is that. So you're going to want to go through for each of these 4 WPA outcomes, and you're going to want to do that. And the same thing in your habits of mind. So it is quite a bit of work, which is why you really need to just be plugging away at this a little bit at a time. So for each of these, curiosity, openness, engagement, creativity, persistence, responsibility, flexibility, and metacognition, you'll want to write for project 1 and for project 2. What did I do in this assignment that helped me develop this aspect of the habits of mind? Okay. I'm really looking forward to seeing how your guys' portfolios progress. I'm excited. It's so fun to see how different everyone's experience in the class have been, and I really love seeing the About Me pages where everyone talks about where they're from and a little bit about what they're doing in school and stuff. So it's been a pleasure reading those things too. So here, I'm back on my page now. So this is what the published version looks like, okay? And ultimately, again, I would have to go through all of these and add in my text for those. There's just one more thing that I wanted to show you, and this just really applies to any of your writing, but I thought this video would be a good place to put it. So here's my text again. I went ahead and I copied it, okay? And one thing that I personally like to do, just as a writer, because again, so Digication doesn't catch all of the errors. Word also doesn't catch everything. It's just not guaranteed. I mean, nothing is 100% guaranteed, but I like to run my writing through a few different programs because if it's something important, I want as many errors to be caught as possible. So one of the programs that I use is called PaperRater. And so right here, paperrater.com. It's a free program that you can use, and you can plug your writing into here. And they just really give awesome suggestions for your writing. So I can go here and I can paste my little snippet of writing. And if you don't pay for it, there'll be this kind of obnoxious little thing here. Let me answer a question. So you'll say, okay, I'm in college, and there you go. I've read the terms. So now PaperRater is going to give me a little, it'll give me a page where it analyzes my writing, and it'll just give me some information that's really fun to look at. Okay, so here's spelling. It doesn't like the word kairos either, but I know that it's fine, so I'm going to ignore that. But it'll give you spelling issues. Here it's going to give me grammar issues. It says here in green, I also conducted interviews at the business. So they're suggesting in. So sometimes this isn't 100%, and sometimes it is. It's spot on. So just go back and read the sentence. I think my sentence sounds fine, so I'm going to leave that. But it does give grammar suggestions, so if you feel like grammar is a struggle for you, this is kind of a cool way to get a little grammar check. Word choice. Okay, so this is usage of bad phrases, which is kind of fun. So they'll show you, like, Do you use the word very a bunch of times? Do you use the word really a bunch of times? Are you using things that are cliche? So in my word choice, this one says I'm in the green. If you're not in the green, it'll give you a list down here of phrases that you're using where they suggest you just look at them and maybe make some improvements. That will help you with your academic verbiage also, just to see where you're really repetitious or where you're using words that could be better words or more specific words. Okay, style, so use of transitional phrases. This also will tell you, it tells you, so in my little blurb here, I use 2 transitional phrases, and however. And it kind of talks right here about why do you use transitional phrases, so your reader can know where they're going from one idea to the next as they're reading through your text. So if this is something you struggle with, this will tell you, hey, this is where you're strong or where you could work a little bit more. You can also look at sentence length info. It'll tell you whether your sentence length varies or not, whether your sentences are really short or really long. And then this is sentence beginnings, which will tell you, do you start every sentence with the word I or anything else like that. Another cool feature here is that it'll tell you if you're speaking with a passive voice. This doesn't have any passive sentences in it, but if you tend to do that, it will catch it, which is pretty cool, because I don't know of any other programs that actually catch passive voice. This one tells you how much academic vocabulary you've used, and it'll tell you for your grade level, basically like for a college student, where are you at? Are you using about the same amount of academic phrases? How is your vocabulary? And then at the end, there's this funny little thing too where they say this is an auto grader. It tells you, predicts what kind of a grade you'll get. I would never pay attention to the auto grader because this one says I get an A, but I would say like probably 95% of the time it says I'm going to get a B, even though my writing is totally solid. So yeah, it's funny, but it's not, I wouldn't call it accurate. This is just one of the things that I like to use though, as far as just developing solid writing and checking for passive voice and, again, academic vocabulary and things like that. So if you want to kind of get more in depth in your writing, Paper Rater is a really cool place to just go plug your writing in and look over it and see where you're at. So I guess that was it for today. If you have any questions on the WPA outcomes or the habits of mind and how you need to fill out those sections, please either get a hold of me or Professor Amy, and we can go ahead and help you with that. Make sure that you're working on them now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how your portfolios come out. Happy writing!